Congratulations on completing the program. As we all know, the real challenge now is to transfer the knowledge and skills gained in the program and make them habitual in our work lives. To help with this task, let's review some evidence-based strategies for habit formation. First, it's important to make a plan. Write down your goals and identify specific actions you can take to achieve those goals. Where is it that you want to move from and to? And what are the habits that are going to help you close that gap? So think about that endpoint. What is that plan? Where are you working towards? Then start thinking about, as I said, the habits that will close that gap. So with habit selection, create really small, simple habits that build on each other. Next, think about your cues. Cues are ways to remind yourself to do the habits that you want to embed in your life. An example of this from my own life is when I wanted to make skipping habitual, I actually had my skipping rope out on the breakfast counter every morning to remind myself to skip. And I'd leave it there throughout the day so that it would just stare at me and make me want to skip all the time. So what I ended up doing was skipping 3 or 4 times a day, which really built that habit of skipping, which nowadays is something I do habitually. Another kind of cue you can use is a technique called habit stacking. This is where you use an existing habit and attach a new habit to that already existing habit. So an example here might be if you want to read more, you might say, well, I have a coffee every morning, so how about I have a book next to the coffee machine that means that whenever I'm sitting drinking my coffee, I'm reading a book while I'm doing that. That stacking of the habit, that adding of the reading to the coffee drinking is a way of cueing yourself, reminding yourself to do the new habit that you want to do. The next part of this is thinking about how you can set up supports. One way to do this is involve others. Can you get a mentor or colleagues or friends to help you on your journey? Others' perspectives can be really useful in letting you know how you're progressing towards your goal. The other thing to think about is willpower. Willpower is a really limited resource for many of us. So what I'd really suggest is to set up your environment to support you. Don't make it hard for yourself. The idea here is we want to make it easy for us to do the right things and harder to do the wrong things. An example of this from my own life is my phone. For me, it's not a particularly positive way for me to use my time. So one thing I choose to do there is take my phone and take the color out of the screen by putting it on grayscale, which you can do in the settings. This makes it a far less attractive place to go, and therefore I spend much less time there, freeing time up for other things like playing with my kids or reading books or whatever it might be. This is a way to set up your environment to support you doing the things you want to do. There are many other examples. Lastly, be kind to yourself. Building habits takes so much time. It's a really hard thing to do. In a study in 2010, they found that it takes between 18 and 254 days to groove a habit and have it become automatic. That is a massive range, and that range is going to be influenced by who you are as a person and the habit you're focusing on. But either way, it's not something that just happens overnight. You need to think about this as a long-term journey you've got to focus on and stick out. And the challenge here is really not just the time, but the feelings throughout that journey. As you are grooving this habit, it's not going to feel as easy or as simple as the previous behavior, because the previous behavior you had was, by definition, its own habit, and you're trying to change that. So here, we need to be aware that we're walking into a space of discomfort. We've got to be embracing that discomfort, recognizing there's going to be benefit on the far side of that. An example here is my golf swing. Frequently, I'm changing a part of my golf swing, but I need to be aware that while I'm changing that golf swing, I'm not going to actually be striking the ball nearly as well, and the results are going to be far less positive short term. But if I can stick with it long term, then the benefits will come. So with that said, here's a few ideas to build your habits. Number 1, have a plan. Number 2, set up support. Number 3, consistency is vital. But number 4, be kind to yourself. With those things in mind, you'll have a far greater chance of taking these ideas from the program and making these habitual behaviors in your work life, which is what this is all about. Good luck.